Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Factor follow-up segment tonight. As we told you in the Talking Points memo, an FBI agent named Agent Abdel-Hafiz has been put on administrative leave. He has been accused by another agent of refusing to record other Muslims who the FBI was investigating. One of the men, a Saudi named Yassan Kadi, is suspected of bankrolling Osama bin Laden. The other man was Sami al-Arian, recently indicted for terrorist fundraising. The question, should FBI Chief Robert Mueller be fired, since this is the third time he's been around a scandal within the FBI? Joining us now from Los Angeles, Bill Baker, former FBI Assistant Director, and in Washington, former FBI agent Gary Aldrich, author of Unlimited Access, an FBI agent inside the Clinton White House. Mr. Baker, let's go with you. Am I being unfair here?
A little bit, Bill. Getting right to the specifics of our Muslim agent, the decision to wear a wire is not made by a field agent in a case. Otherwise, you'd have rogue cases which would be bothering you rightfully. In this instance, the decision by regulation is to be made by the special agent in charge. In this case, it was the Dallas office. So regardless of what it was alleged the Agent Gamal may have said, the decision for him to wire up or not wire up was made by the proper person, and that's the agent in charge in Dallas.
How do you know that? Because we're being told by the prosecutor in the case and Agent Wright that everybody wanted this to happen. The Tampa office in the Al-Arian case asked the man to wear a wire. He declined. I mean, you're basically putting it back on the bureaucracy, and maybe that's true. I mean, maybe they didn't give him a direct order, but still, doesn't it disturb you, Mr. Baker, if a Muslim FBI agent will not record another Muslim FBI agent to bring evidence about terrorism? Isn't that disturbing to you?
If that's the bottom line, it could be disturbing, Bill, but I'm told otherwise.
Well, of course you're told. You know, they're denying it, but you would have to call FBI Agent Wright a liar, and the not the assistant, but the prosecutor in the case a liar too. You'd have to call them both liars in order to make that case.
I'm not calling either a liar. I'm saying that the facts, and as these facts will spin out, and believe me, Congress is going to take a look at this just as you are, and I'm here to tell you that when these facts are laid out plain and simple, it's going to be Gamal's supervisor who claimed, and not a headquarters supervisor, not the hindquarters you refer to, it's the field. And the field believed that this was not the proper occasion to wire someone up.
All right.
These are sensitive cases, and
I want the audience to know, Mr. Baker, that what you say, although it might be true, is being vehemently disputed by a number of FBI agents involved in these investigations. How do you see it, Mr. Aldrich?
Well, when we worked on undercover agents, when I was an agent, the number one priority, the criteria, I should say, for choosing an undercover agent was his willingness or her willingness to go undercover. And if you had somebody who didn't want to go undercover or wear a wire in this particular case we're talking about, you'd be foolish to force that agent to follow through on an investigation they did not want to participate in.
Okay, but let's face it, we don't have very many Muslim American agents who can infiltrate terrorist organizations. Well, if you have one that says, I'm not going to record another fellow Muslim, you got to fire him, don't you?
Well, I think it is a question of insubordination if this is what in fact happened, because you would use the same fact situation if a Catholic, for example, refused to participate in an investigation of abortion clinic protesters. You have the same fact situation.
Mr. Baker might be right. Maybe the guy didn't receive a direct order. I wasn't there. But I'll tell you, the two men that we had on when Wright, you know, doesn't it disturb you, Mr. Baker, that number one, the FBI will not clarify this case? Because it's a simple question. Did he or did he not refuse an order to wear a wire? Yes or no? They will not clarify it. And number two, we were going to have Wright on last night, and they threatened to fire him for insubordination if he came on and told his story. Doesn't it disturb you, sir?
No, I'm not necessarily disturbed by that, Bill. You've got facts right now, and the FBI has a mandate to follow its procedures. This is all going to be laid out. You're ahead of the curve here, and you have an issue. But I'd like to tell Gary also that one of the best undercover agents the FBI had, and they made a movie out of it, Donnie Brasco was his code name, was very hesitant to wear a wire. So I don't want to debate.
Yeah, because he didn't want to get killed. And I understand that, but
Absolutely.
That's part of the job. Now listen, Mr. Baker, one more, we'll get back to Mr. Aldrich. Doesn't it disturb you about Mueller that this guy gave this Bowman accommodation and gave Rowley a hard time in Minneapolis about the Moussaoui thing?
Last night, Bill, you mentioned that this is the worst of times. Even in the best of times, an FBI director has one of the most challenging positions in government. He's looking over 75,000 cases and over 25,000 employees, and he's responsible to the oversight committees and to the public. For Mueller to make up one problem in this case, I don't have the facts on Bowman, on why he was promoted.
The facts are right there, Mr. Baker. How about you, Mr. Aldrich? Does that disturb you?
Actually, no. As a matter of fact, I have to side with the director's office on this one in not letting Agent Wright testify.
No. I'm talking about the Zacharias Moussaoui thing. I'm talking about giving the guy Bowman, who wouldn't okay Rowley's request for a wiretap on Moussaoui's computer before 9/11, accommodation, and then giving Rowley a hard time for complaining about it.
Well, as far as I know, Rowley never received any reprimand in her file or a letter of commendation or a letter of censure, any of the things.
Nothing. But Bowman got commendated, and he's the guy that screwed the case up.
Well, we don't know that he's the only person who screwed this case up. I think there are others involved in this. I'm not defending.
Yeah,
the
you
FBI
are. You
here.
both are. I mean, if this is what we got, if this is what's protecting us, a Mueller and an FBI who gives a guy an accommodation who won't tap Zacharias Moussaoui's computer, and I don't know what to say. Go ahead, Mr. Baker. I'll give you the last word.
Bill, I worked very closely with Bob Mueller during the previous Gulf War. And we worked hand in glove. We prevented terrorist acts. He's a solid, proven leader. He rearranged the San Francisco U.S. Attorney's Office. He's a career prosecutor who, after he was turned out when President Clinton took office, and Gary, you know these details, afterwards, Mueller didn't run to a large law firm to make triple figures. He elected to go back and prosecute homicides in the district.
All right.
This is a proven professional, Bill.
And I could be wrong, Mr. Baker. I respect your opinion, okay? I just want an answer, and I'm going to tell everybody watching tonight, we got millions of people watching, if you want an answer about this wiretap, as I think we all do, Mr. Baker, Mr. Aldrich, and me, we have a link on VulgarBetrayal.com where you can get right into the White House and just say, we'd like an answer on this question. I think that's fair, gentlemen, is it not? Let's just get an answer on it. Thank you very much. We appreciate both your points of view.